She had a dream once, a real one, the kind that lives in your chest and keeps you awake at night. But she made one decision and spent 40 years wondering, what if? Her name was Margaret, and she was 71 years old when she finally told someone her secret. That someone was a complete stranger on a park bench. That stranger was 26. That stranger was you. His name was Ryan. Young, frustrated, lost. Not the kind of lost where you don't know where you are. The kind of lost where you know exactly where you are, and you hate it. He had a job in an office. Gray walls, fluorescent lights. The same chair, the same screen, the same coffee, every single day. He wasn't failing. That was the problem. He was surviving. Comfortably. Quietly. And that quiet was slowly eating him alive. Ryan had always wanted to build something. A business. Something small. Something his. A little woodworking company. Custom furniture. Handmade, honest, real. He was good with his hands. His grandfather had taught him. He still remembered the smell of sawdust in that old garage. The sound of wood being shaped into something beautiful. But every time he got close to starting, fear walked in. What if I fail? What if I lose money? What if people laugh? What if I try, and it's not enough? So he stayed, in the chair, in the office, in the quiet. One Tuesday morning he called in sick. He wasn't sick, he just couldn't go. He walked to the park near his apartment, sat on a bench, stared at nothing. That's when she sat down beside him. Margaret. White hair, warm coat, slow movements. She had a small bag of breadcrumbs and she started feeding the pigeons like she had done it 1,000 times. Because she had. Ryan didn't want to talk, but Margaret looked over and said, very simply, "You look like someone who's fighting with himself." Ryan almost laughed. "Is it that obvious?" She smiled. Only to someone who did it for 40 years. Something about the way she said it made him stop. 40 years. He turned to look at her, and she told him her story. Margaret had grown up loving architecture. Not just buildings, the way a building could make a person feel. The curve of a ceiling, the light through a window, the way space could breathe. She had drawn buildings since she was 8 years old. Her notebooks were full of them. Houses, bridges, towers, libraries. When she was 18, she was accepted to a university program for architecture, the first in her family to go. But then her father got sick, and there was no money. And she told herself, just 1 year. I'll wait just 1 year. She took a job as a secretary. Then she met a man, and they married. Then came children, and bills, and years, and the notebooks went into a box, and the box went into a closet, and the closet stayed closed. She told herself, one day, not now, one day. One day never came. She raised her children. She loved her husband. She had a good life. But somewhere inside her, a small light never went out. It just flickered, quietly, alone, in the dark. "I'm not telling you this so you feel sorry for me," she said. "I had love. I had a family. I don't regret them." She paused. "But I do regret the box in the closet. I regret deciding that my dream was less important than my fear. Because I was never really afraid of failing." She looked at him directly. "I was afraid of trying and finding out I wasn't good enough. So I made the choice for the universe. I said no before it could say no to me." Ryan felt something move in his chest, like something that had been stuck for a long time, was shifting. "Does it still hurt?" he asked quietly. Margaret smiled. soft and sad, every single day. But not in a dramatic way, just like a hum. A low, quiet hum that reminds me of what I chose. They sat in silence for a moment. Then she said, "How old are you?" 26, Ryan said. She nodded slowly. "You have so much time." That's the thing young people never believe. You think you'll feel ready one day. You think the fear will go away. She shook her head gently. It doesn't go away. You just get older, and the dream gets quieter. And one day you realize the only thing scarier than trying is never knowing. She stood up slowly, gathered her bag. "Don't let your dream live in a box," she said, and then she walked away. Ryan sat on that bench for a long time. He thought about his grandfather's garage, the smell of sawdust, the way his hands knew exactly what to do. He thought about Margaret's notebooks, all those buildings she never built. He took out his phone, and instead of scrolling, he opened a blank document, and he started writing. Not a business plan, not a strategy, just the idea. His idea, in his own words, for the first time. That night he didn't sleep much, but it wasn't anxiety that kept him awake. It was something different, something he hadn't felt in years. It felt like being alive. He spent his weekends in a small rented garage. He made one piece of furniture, a small side table. It wasn't perfect, but it was his. He posted a photo online. 3 people responded. One of them asked if it was for sale. He almost said no, but he thought of Margaret, and he said yes. The business grew slowly, the way real things grow, not like a rocket, like a tree. And some days were hard. But Ryan never once opened that blank document without feeling something. Purpose. There is a version of your life where you always meant to start, where the idea lived in a drawer, in a notebook, in the back of your mind, where you waited for the right moment, the right money, the right sign. And the years passed, and the dream got quieter. And one day you sat on a park bench and told a stranger what could have been. That version of your life is possible, but so is another one. The one where you started before you were ready, where you tried before you were sure, where you failed sometimes and kept going anyway. The difference between those 2 lives is not talent. It's not money. It's not luck. It's one decision, made quietly, on an ordinary day, to begin. Margaret's notebooks are still in that box, but maybe yours don't have to be. You still have time. The only question is, what will you do with it?